大家好，我的中文的名字是张凯，比较张木健康。但是我觉得我英文很浅。My Chinese is okay, but not so good. So I will prefer to speak English. I will try to add some Chinese words if I know them, but if I don't, I will just speak English. Who speaks English? Yay! Okay, cool. So my name's Greg, Zhang Kai, and I do a lot of things around sustainability and youth. So young people, and seeing how to get young people to come up with new ideas for sustainability. And as it was mentioned, we are also now seeing how to take ideas and actually make them enter markets as solutions, and not just stay as ideas. And so today I'd like to take this time first just to briefly introduce myself, to see how this works. I got it. So innovating for sustainability is what I want to talk about. So I will talk about Unleash, but I want to talk about how we can innovate for sustainability. So that's me. I do lead Unleash Plus. Reisha Ren. Is that right? Reisha? Switzerland? Okay, Reisha Ren. I worked in Africa for 2 years, all around Africa, and I then have my own company that I work in a bit of UK, Tsinghua, Zhongguo. For 2 years, in 2015 and 2016, I worked in 15 countries around Africa, seeing how to connect entrepreneurs with money, who had really good ideas, and they were doing anything from sustainable projects, but also web projects, e-commerce projects, fintech projects, all around Africa. This was what it would look like. We would get great people to come and to pitch to a panel of investors, and then we would essentially have one team that was selected, would go to Switzerland, and then pitch, like I'm talking to you now, for $500,000 of investment for their company. And nowadays, what I do, so this whole year, 2019, I've been organizing different large programs for young people, like students and young talented people who care about sustainability and who have good ideas, and seeing how to help them create ideas that can actually become alive, that can actually enter the real world. So why are we even talking about sustainability? So this, I think, is probably one of the most important things we could look at in terms of the world. So, just a brand, okay, so time, people, and basically in the last 100 years or so, the population of the world has gone crazy. It's gone absolutely crazy compared to any other time in history. But what does that mean? It means there's lots of opportunities, there's lots of great things going on, but there's also pressure on the environment and pressure on the resources that we have around the world. This is a photo, just show what the Japan in Nigeria. Nigeria is Faire in Africa. This is a beach on an island called Ogogoro. This is the reality of also what's going on with the people around the world. So we have plastic bottles, we drink, it's nice, we throw it, and it ends up somewhere, in the ocean or on an island. We also know that temperatures are rising. CO2, you know CO2, is more and more gas in the atmosphere, it's making temperatures rise, and by having temperatures rising, we're starting to have the water level of the seas go up, and that creates big problems. And to show you, actually, Guangzhou and like the whole area here is very vulnerable to the water that's rising. But it's not just here, it's in cities like Miami, there's New York, there's Baja, there's Mumbai, there's lots of cities around the world which are under pressure from what's going on due to the rising levels of water. So it is actually a global problem. It's a problem for you, it's a problem for everyone around the world, and it's something that we actually need to think about seriously. Because this is moving fast, it's moving quiet, very quick. Okay, so what is innovating when we talk about innovation? So I had two things I want to talk about. One is, it's a very simple definition, so it's the application of ideas that are novel and useful, that actually have a purpose. And David also talks about creativity, so the ability to generate these new ideas as a seed, but then also applying them to see how to actually scale them and get them to people. This is a longer one, but let's just keep the first line. Very simply put, it's about staying relevant. So staying relevant means in your time, you're doing the thing that it makes sense. And I think that in this time, it makes sense to start thinking about sustainability. And I like to think about innovation in this way. You are probably many makers. There's lots of makers in this room. We're in the Maker Faire. And I think for you, this is clear. You have lots of blocks of inventions. So if you think about a train, I can't remember how to say train. Huachong? Okay. A train, right? The wheel was invented a long time ago. Then steam was invented. And then train tracks at some point were invented. And different parts of a train were not invented at the same time. They were each a block. So a block comes together, another block comes together, and of course we see this a huge amount in like the maker movement. You can take each block literally around your microcontroller, your Arduino, etc., and see how the block plug these different things into have a solution. And so when you think about innovation, it's applying these different blocks and actually making someone like it, or create value for someone, and then make sure that something gets into someone's hand. So that heart means, of course, value, but it also means that someone maybe could actually help, for example, the environment, or could actually help other people. So creating value, right? Taking inventions, putting them together and creating value. Okay, then sustainability. I mentioned some of the pressures around sustainability, but when we talk about sustainability, what do we actually mean? And I think we mean mainly three simple things. We mean economic sustainability, so actually making sure that as we move forward in time, people have enough money to live a decent life. Environmental sustainability, that we can actually walk around, that we can breathe the air outside, that we can be in a world where it's a good place to live, and that things are healthy for us. And then social, that people of different diverse backgrounds and of different conditions have a chance in society. Okay, and of course we've been talking a lot about the SDGs. The SDGs in 2015 were created as a way to find goals together. So all the countries of the world agreed to these SDGs in 2015 to say, let's see how we can actually work together towards a goal. And as you see, there's lots of them. There's things about poverty, there's health and well-being, there's education, there's production, there's different areas that you can work into. And each of these has an indicator, so you can measure it. You can see actually how you are making a change in each of these areas. So there we go. I wanted to kind of bring innovation and sustainability together and explain to you why I think these are important. I think it's the right time for sustainability, and sustainability, as you've seen, is something that applies to everyone. So how are we doing this? There's lots of ways to do this, but we have one way of doing this. And I want to show you a simple example. Essentially, we think that it's by doing it by people, for people. And what I mean by that is that there are people who are passionate. There are people who care, people who want to try and make a difference. So we look for those people, and we look to see how we can give those people tools. So tools, it could be mental tools, but it could also be tools that you'll start using in your hands. And these tools allow you to start looking at challenges, not in a way where you're just afraid about a challenge, but you can actually start finding a way to solve it. And then partners. I mean, here, as you see, there's many partners getting together. We always work around the world with many partners to actually see how to best support people, and best also show our partners how they can get involved in making a difference. And lastly, mindset. And I want to just stop on this for a second. Mindset is something which is really interesting. It's literally shown that if you have a fixed mindset, so if you convince yourself, so if you believe that you can't change things, then your mind will actually grow, your brain physically will grow less. Your brain grows less if you believe you cannot change things. Your brain is more active and grows more if you believe you can. So like the connections between your different neurons in your brain, etc., will grow faster if you believe you can change them. That's also something I want to say, that through what we do, we get people to understand that it's possible. And changing wording from I can't do it to I can't do it yet. So it's English, I know, but yet means we will be able one point. It's a big difference. Okay, I'm going to give you 3 examples. I'll try to go quite quickly. It's 3 different projects that I've worked on personally, and I wanted to bring these together to illustrate what I mean by innovating for sustainability, and Amish Plus is one of them. The first is called Insync. This is the website. So in February, earlier this year, Nanyang area, we went to India, with a lot of partners. EPFL is a regular partner also for Tsinghua and Seed. They run a great program here in summer called Chic. And we went to India with this partner called Selco to see how we could help local communities on 2 levels. One is energy, green energy access, and 2 is shelter for their homes, the way they live. And is there a way of helping in the current way they live to find better solutions? And so what we did is we really went to meet local people. These are all batteries, small batteries that were charged by that solar panel in a rural area in India, outside of the city. It's a system that allows them to charge batteries. They use these batteries for lights, or they use these batteries for different things that they have to do in their homes. And we went to meet these people and see, well, what could be done? How can we help you? And this was the first meeting, and it was great. The second one we went to was here. So this is a map. This is East Bangalore. Bangalore is a city in India. You see this blue area? That essentially is a place where people live in tents like this. And so we went to visit the community to understand what is actually happening. How are you living, and how does that make you feel? I mean, not just feel, but like, how's your body doing about it too? And they live under this, which is called tarpaulin. It's a type of material used for transport, and what happens is it keeps the heat and the smoke from cooking inside their tents. So their health was terrible. Kids can't go to school because they're coughing all day and they're getting super bad lung problems. So we thought, okay, well, how can we help? So we had students with us. These are students. They're not, industrial designers with 10 years of experience. They are students, but that's the point. It's teaching young people how to solve problems. And they would go to visit, and they went inside the homes. It's generally dark, because people don't trust each other in this area, so they stay inside their homes. And actually seeing, well, how can we start thinking about how to change the system here? And students come up and they sketch things and they start thinking about things. You see these post-its on the wall, this kind of thing, coming up with lots of ideas, thinking about how we can make a difference. And then, this is Mark. You know Mark from Chic? And they have a makerspace. I mean, this is just, I wanted to show you there was a makerspace. But the makerspace had like power tools and different things, and it was just, how can we make simple prototypes of our ideas to show the people of the community? And so this is one student. He had built an idea of a tent where the roof was separated so that air could flow naturally out of the tent. And so the smoke from the cooking could naturally, with no system, just get out the tent. And another group of students, they did this. And actually Selco, our partner, had never thought about this. So they had solar panels and they did light. But they never thought that if they plugged in a ventilation system, they might actually be able to help the people to push the smoke outside the tents and save their lungs for breathing. Okay, so that's the first example I wanted to give of some work we did in India. The second is the Youth Innovation Summit. So a month ago we were in Morocco, and we did the same thing. We had 100 Moroccan talents, so 100 young Moroccan people for 1 week, and they created 20 ideas for sustainability. Worked with some really interesting partners, including UNDP and African Development Bank, and essentially we go through this process, which is very similar to what I just mentioned to you. It's understanding a problem very well. It's talking to people, it's understanding what the problem is, and getting insights. It's then coming up with ideas. As I mentioned, these post-its, talking as a team, finding ways of understanding how we can create new solutions. It's prototyping, it's basic. Prototyping can be slides in a PowerPoint, but it can also be literally taking components of a hardware device and seeing how to put them together and try something quickly. Could be some simple coding with prototyping. Testing. As you saw in that photo, you go quickly to the people that care about your solution and see how they can give you feedback, and then we help them in seeing how they can implement. This is just an example of a group who were also working on creating really cool solutions. This is a big group. You you get a lot of really cool young people together to do amazing work. We had the Princess of Denmark visit, Gongju, Banmaida Gongju, who came, and this is also part of what we're trying to do, is take important people and important partners and actually get them to see that there's a possibility for young people to make a difference. And this, I mean, you can imagine as a young person having the princess coming up and listening to you and presenting your project, and this princess, you know, talking to you and asking you questions. It was quite amazing. I think the young people were really inspired. And then in the last day we had a festival. So we had a festival, a big stage, lots of people pitching, and out of the 20 ideas, 8 teams got $30,000 from the African Development Bank to take their ideas further. That's quite something. And I'm not going to say that all those ideas will work, but at the end of the day, it's coming up with new ideas for sustainability through a process and getting support to take them further. Okay, and Unleash. So I think there's a wall here about Unleash. A lot of people all around, maybe someone in the room is from Unleash as well, I don't know. But Unleash is right now happening in Shenzhen. It started at the beginning of this week, and it's 1,000 people from 150 countries coming here in Shenzhen to create new ideas. Now, we know that also means flying people here, which has got its realities, but we do believe that getting people together in a room to go through a process and actually create new solutions does amazing things. And this is just an example from Copenhagen. You can imagine 1,000 people from all around the world. It makes you understand that you're not alone, and that actually as a global community we can change things. And you will see around you here people from all over the world together working on finding new solutions. I'm going to talk briefly about Unleash Plus. We've been essentially taking solutions from Unleash and seeing how to accelerate them and get them to market. So Unleash really does this. It goes from problem, idea, prototyping, testing, implementation, similar to what I showed you before. And what we're doing is really helping them on key areas of the development of the solution and seeing how they can get experts to help them really develop an organization and a solution that will work. We have teams that are working on all of these SDGs. We have 25 teams in the program, and they each are in one of these SDGs. And in Shenzhen, what we're doing is that we have experts that have come to meet them here. We're working with local partners in Shenzhen, so we had someone from Seed yesterday come to meet the teams, Mandy. We have people from Hacks coming in, people working in education in Shenzhen, different people that can help the teams about their solutions and maybe help them to enter China. They learn between themselves, peer-to-peer learning. And lastly, next week on Tuesday, they'll be pitching on stage, presenting on stage, and also pitching to get $30,000 of investment for their solutions. So what I'd like to do now is say that if you want to see more about Unleash and actually see the solutions for sustainability, you can join us on Tuesday. This is in Nanyang. I hope this is the right address. Does it say Inno Park, yeah? Good. So from 12 to 3 p.m. on the 12th, all the 200 solutions will be presented and people will be showing what they're doing. So if you want to discover what this is about, I warmly welcome you to join us. The key takeaways I want you to have from what I've been talking about is one, it is about the people. It's about people in the room here. It's like make a community. It's like any community. It's about getting people together to find ways to create solutions and people who care about the same things to move together. It's about humans. It's about doing things and understanding the people that have the problem that you're trying to solve. And it's about finding the right way to understand those people to design solutions for them in the right way. It's creativity. Creativity means having fun. It means trying things. It means whatever has to happen for you to come up with new interesting ideas. And lastly, it's creating movements. So I was talking about people and community, but it's, at the end of the day, it's about getting together and working towards common goals. So I think what I'd like to say to the maker community here is and Eric actually mentioned in one of his first slides, is seeing how we can also use the maker community, which has in itself ways of giving people tools to solve problems all around the world, but thinking how to apply that quite quickly and more to big key issues around sustainability. Last slide, in all design process, in all situation, what actually does happen is it's messy. It's really messy, but at some point things get better and we get on the right direction. And I really hope that happens for everyone here. Cheers.